Baby's talk. Hello. I'm
Hello,
hungry.
I'm baby. I'm hungry.
I'm
Again.
hungry again, yeah. You go.
Okay.
I just go.
You just agree with me.
That's right, Aoife.
It's a lot of information, and actually a lot of really good stuff, I thought. Like that, especially about taking the baby off the latch if it's painful, because that's what you always hear, people going through that pain. So that kind of really made sense. And a lot of it just makes, I suppose, it makes sense, but now the whole idea of feeding 8 to 10 times a day for 6 weeks is daunting. Not for you, Alan, because you don't have to do it. But
No.
it's a lot, isn't it? Like, that's going to be a lot. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, I've got, like, I may have, you know, to go to work in 2 weeks after I've had the baby for 1 or 2 days, depending on what's going on with Operation Transformation. So that kind of scares me, if I'm honest. But
What about you, Alan? Does that scare you, the fact that she's going to be, you know, maybe relying on you a little bit more to maybe do the cooking and things like that around the house and stuff?
Not really, no. That was, like, you don't get into having babies if you're not prepared to do that type of stuff. So,
yeah.
I suppose we're at the stage in our life where we're ready for that type of stuff.
Are you ready?
Ah, yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready.
Cookery course. I know, but you're expecting that, like, so you have to get on with it. I'm sure, like, you do, like, you're going to do what you have to do when the time comes. Like, even, like, she's talking about the baby, baby knows what to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure, as parents, like, we know what to do to some extent when the time comes as well. And you'll do whatever you have to do.
Instinct.
Yeah. That's basically, like, even the hypnobirthing was a lot to do with instinct and stuff
Yeah.
as well. Like, so
Trust in
if
yourself.
you're kind of hoping that you'll have a lot of instincts that will kick in at the time. I don't know, I was just
Very
ringing my mother.
She was speaking about, you know, trusting that the baby knows how much the baby needs, and that from a dietitian point of view I think is really important to me, because teaching children and teaching babies self-regulation is one of the key things in helping prevent children being overweight. Because what I see is adults who come to me who can't, you know, they have one biscuit and they eat 10 because they never were actually taught how to self-regulate. So I suppose my whole kind of professional side of it comes in then, that like that really kind of, when she said that, that really made sense to me. So it is, but still, like the whole idea of not having routine, because I love routine, that kind of, you know, but you know, there's some of it quite liberating, I think, as well, knowing that I can do that. You know, I'm not going in my car up to Thurles, up to Dublin, down to Cork, staying overnight. Like, you know, having a baby and breastfeeding's not going to be walking in the park, but it's going to be a different, I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to being able to sit on the couch feeding. But again, you know, when you have no sleep, it's easy for me to say that now after I had 8 hours sleep last night.
Like, even how to watch for the baby latching on and stuff like that. Like, that's important. And
Really
I suppose
important.
it's not something you learn in school or reading the papers. Like,
No.
it's right you have to come to a class like this to learn the basics. But it is the basics, and I suppose that's why we're here, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, I was reading an article recently about breastfeeding in Ireland, and, you know, they're saying the biggest problem is that you can't sell it, you know, that we've been sold the idea that, you know, breast milk and formula are equal and that it's one or the other, but that really, like, the more you learn about it, the more, you know, and again, like you said, it should be something we know, but there's a, like, why have we not been taught this in school, you know?
But no one benefits from breastfeeding.
No one makes money.
Out of it.
And, like, you know, yeah, that just kind of is crazy to me.
I suppose she makes it so simple
Yeah.
that I suppose it's not going to go that easy. Like, that's about it.
And I think Alan would probably be worried if it was hurting. Like that, my concern may be that it will be painful and I'll be upset, and he won't want me to be that way. So he'd be like, oh, let's just give up, you know, whereas,
Cook up a steak.
you know, I suppose it's, you know, it's needing him to be strong but like, I think the benefit of you being here will, you know, you'll remember the things hopefully to make it not painful. Hopefully.
Hopefully,
You know, when she says things like that, when you hold the baby, even especially there now, when she was talking about that whole cocktail of emotion, it makes me nearly want to cry, I think. Because, you know, it's like, I think the closer I'm getting, the more I'm thinking of that, you know, and it's so foreign that you can't imagine how it's going to be. But yeah, so I'm definitely thinking more about it now. Like, definitely in the last even 2 weeks or so, I've been kind of thinking more about how it's all, you know, and even that whole idea of bonding. Like, I suppose it just feels so foreign, and maybe it's because I grew up with no children around me as well, you know, and being an only child. But you know, so that feels a bit foreign. I suppose the talk of that feels foreign, because my main driver for wanting to breastfeed is for the benefit of breast milk. It's not necessarily for that whole bonding experience. Although she said something that really, I can't remember what she said. Yeah, maybe. She said something, I can't remember what she said now, but it actually made me, I can't remember what she said. She said something about, oh yeah, the whole idea that actually breastfeeding is not just to feed the baby. That was kind of was almost a revelation. I didn't think of that before. And you know, I just thought, like, again, yeah, maybe me, the dietitian, it's about feeding, you know, whereas I suppose there's a whole other world that I'm going to learn about. And I'm excited. I think I'm excited by the challenge of it too. So it is Friday, and I am just getting ready to go out to a charity fashion show type thing. So very happy I have some of my new outfits that I can wear. Actually, the Wednesday night after the breastfeeding class, I had a dream. I was dreaming that I had the baby was here, and I was breastfeeding, and it was successful. So, you know, I think the biggest thing I got from the class was the confidence to, you know, that if things are going wrong, first of all, she gave you steps to, you know, to see if you can address it yourself, but also that she's there as a support, you know, as soon as you feel you need help. So that's, you know, I think the main thing, you know. But yeah, and then I got this other thing. So I am being the organised person that's probably going to go out the window, but anyway, but I am. So I got my folder, and I know kind of the talk a lot was on how you know if, you know, the baby's getting enough milk. And so one of the things was about how many dirty nappies and how many wet nappies the baby has. So I was going to buy like a special journal, but then I found these online for free. What's it called? The bump from the Knot, but it's breastfeeding tracker. So it's like a sheet just where it gives the time of the feed and what breast you used, how long, how the baby was feeling, and then I guess you just tick how many wet and tick how many dirty nappies in the day. So, you know, I think that would be useful, especially so you can keep track of it, because I'm sure, you know, there's lots going on. And then there's a sleep tracker too, which I'm guessing there'll be lots of sleeplessness in it. So yeah, so happy enough to have that organised. And also, I suppose my biggest concern was that I'll be back to work at 8 weeks if the baby comes on time. And not that I'll be back to full working week at 8 weeks, but I'll be back to work, to being away probably 2 days of the week at 8 weeks. So my biggest concern was, how am I going to have enough store built up? How am I going to have enough store built up for those 2 days that I'm away? So Claire gave good advice. Well, there's lots of advice in her booklet, but also her advice was to wait until 4 weeks before you start expressing, and then to call her, and she'll give me good advice then, which I think is good for me, because I can definitely be an over planner. So it's nice to know that I don't actually have to even maybe worry about that yet. So for the first 4 weeks, hopefully we'll be feeding as normal, and hopefully that will go well. And if not, you know, there's help there. I also looked into, because I know she suggested those kudu, is it, or kudu? Yeah, I think that's what it's called, breastfeeding support groups. And it's so not me. It's like 100% not me. but she did recommend it as good to have some kind of support in place once the baby arrives. So I'm half thinking about it.